Good afternoon, good evening to all. I wish to extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone present here today. First and foremost, to Her Excellency, Dr. Amina Ali, for the opportunity to speak out on this topic of mental health. I also wish to say a very special welcome to all of you who suffer from any form of mental health, and preferably, it is my hope that you will come away from the impacts on social and cultural discomforts, among others, after listening to my discourse today. So I'd like to say a mental healthy person will always be a cheerful person. Generally, medicines don't seem to be what we want. We want peace of mind and peace of soul for a cheerful and healthy life. During a life that's so filled with stress and tensions, I pray each one amongst you be blessed with a sorted and healthy mind, because you see, we tend to have all the facility to fight it out. We will fight even the toughest battles with a healthy mind. World Mental Health Day can continually prompt us to use our psychological state and should not be neglected. However, it should always be handled with care. The aim of World Mental Health Day is to boost awareness of psychological problems, increase education on the subject, and commit to eliminate the stigma connected to it. It is hoped that this, in turn, can encourage sufferers to discover help and support. One of the issues we need to look at first, in my own humble opinion, is based upon right where we are, which means our own culture and how that culture can impact mental health. For example, cultural stigma. Every culture has a different way of looking at mental health. For many, there is a growing stigma around mental health and mental health challenges that are considered a weakness and something to hide. This can make it harder for those struggling to talk openly and ask for help. It can also impact the understanding of the symptoms. Culture can influence how people describe and feel about their symptoms. It can affect whether someone chooses to recognize the signs, to recognize and talk about only physical symptoms, only emotional symptoms, or both. It can impact community support. And that is very important, because many of those who suffer from these things prefer to go to their own communities before they go on or move on, because they may not have the ability financially to seek the professional help. So it is important approach the community. Because of existing stigma, minorities are sometimes left to find mental health treatment and support alone. This can also impact resources. When looking for mental health treatment, you want to talk to someone who understands your specific experiences and concerns. It can be sometimes very difficult or time-consuming to find resources and treatment options that take into account specific cultures, factors, and needs. There are only a few ways culture can impact the perception of the treatment for mental illness, and every culture and person are different and face a unique journey to recovery. You can help address the mental health of minorities by understanding the role culture plays in mental health and by becoming trained to help those around you. Mental health first aid gives people the skills to identify signs of mental health and substance use challenges and action steps to take to the help to get treatment. Find a mental health first aid course near you and hashtag be the difference in the life someone who may need your support today. Let us clearly identify what exactly is stigma so that there is no error, there is no mistake in describing it. Stigma is when someone views you in a negative way because you have a distinguishing characteristic or personal trait that's taught to be or actually is a disadvantage. Unfortunately, negative attitudes and beliefs towards people who have a mental health condition are common. Stigma can lead to discrimination. Discrimination may be obvious and direct, such as someone making a negative remark about your mental illness or treatment, or it may be unintentional or subtle, such as someone avoiding you because the person assumes you could be unstable, violent, or dangerous due to your mental illness. You may even judge yourself. We have heard of eliminating the stigma. We have heard of breaking the stigma, etc. In my humble opinion, it is not yet quite the time to discuss the eliminating of stigma, since I believe this would involve many areas that takes time prior to the total elimination of the stigma we are looking for. As an example, one of the areas would most definitely be educating the mass population about mental health. This takes time. There is also the area of awareness, meaning specifically the treatment and understanding of individuals who suffer with mental health, etc. This would take time. Therefore, I feel it is best at this time, and again, my humble opinion, to speak out on overcoming or coping with the stigma. Some of the harmful effects of stigma can include reluctance to seek help or treatment, lack of understanding by family, friends, co-workers, or others, fewer opportunities to work, school, or social activities, or trouble even finding housing, bullying, physical violence, or harassment, health insurance that doesn't adequately cover your mental illness treatment, the belief that you'll never succeed at certain challenges or that you can't improve your situation. Having known these, however, it is my humble opinion and offering today that these are some of the ways I believe you can deal with the stigma. First of all, get treatment. You may be reluctant to admit you need treatment. Don't let the fear of being labeled with a mental illness prevent you from seeking help. Treatment can provide relief by identifying what's wrong and reducing symptoms that interfere with your work and personal life. Secondly, don't let stigma create self-doubt and shame. Stigma doesn't just come from others. You may mistakenly believe that your condition is a sign of personal weakness or that you should be able to control it without help. Seeking counseling, educating yourself about your condition, And connecting with others who have the same illness can help you gain self-esteem and overcome destructive self-judgment. Thirdly, don't isolate yourself. If you have an illness, a mental illness, you may be reluctant to tell anyone about it. Your family, your friends, clergy, or members of your community can offer you support if they know about your illness. Reach out to people you trust for the compassion, for the support and understanding that you need. Don't equate yourself with illness. You are not an illness. So instead of saying I'm bipolar, say I have bipolar disorder. Instead of calling yourself a schizophrenic, say I have schizophrenia. Join a support group. Some local and national groups, such as one that I am familiar with, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, as they're called, they offer local programs and internet resources that help reduce stigma by educating people who have mental illness, their families, and the general public. Get help at school. Whether you're a child who has mental illness that affects learning, find out what plans and programs might help. Discrimination against students because of a mental illness is against the law. And I'll tell you why I say that in a moment. Educators at primary, secondary, and college levels are required to accommodate students as best as they can. Talk to teachers, professors, or administrators about the best approach and resources. If a teacher doesn't know about a student's disability, it can lead to discrimination, barriers to learning, and poor grades. Speak out against stigma. Consider expressing your opinions at events, in letters to the editor, or on the internet. It can help instill courage in others facing similar challenges and educate the public about mental illness. You know what you're going through, not the public. You educate the public. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. This is your time. Now, about the legality, so that you are aware, I want each and every one to know today, the Equality Act of 2010 protects you from discrimination and lets you challenge it. It makes it illegal to discriminate against people with mental health problems when, for example, A, you're at work applying for a job or leaving one. B, you are using services such as hotels, restaurants, public transport, hotels, local councils, and places of worship. C, when you deal with organizations carrying out public functions such as tax collection or law enforcement. D, when you rent or buy property, and these are just a few. There are a couple of things I want to say in conclusion, please. To be protected, you need to show, and this is for you, you need to show your mental health problem is a disability. You may not think of yourself as disabled, but the Equality Act could still protect you if it fits the definition of disability. You need to show you have a long-term mental health problem that makes your everyday life substantially difficult. The judgments of most people are almost always stemming from a lack of understanding rather than information based on facts. Learning to accept your condition and recognize what you need to do to treat it seeking support and helping educate others can make a huge difference. I pray today that my dissertation will at least serve as an eye-opener to mental health education, stigma, awareness, and coping with a view to eliminating and what we can do to start helping those who suffer on a daily basis. Thank you again to everyone, and to you, Excellency Dr. Amina Ali, as always, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share and to help in any way I can. Thank you. God bless you.